Well, good evening, family, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. We are so excited that you are with us this evening to talk about things that are challenging us here in this yet to be United States of America. We are fresh off of our first town hall meeting that was held on this past Monday. And let me say thank you to all of those persons who shared with us in that meeting. Those of you who registered and was a part of it, we want to give a special thanks and shout out to our moderator, Miss Tiffany Majors, the president and chief executive officer of the Greater Baltimore Urban League, who did an outstanding job. And we want to thank her for her leadership. We also want to thank our panelists who joined with us. Dr. Hillary Shelton, who is the director of the NAACP Washington Bureau and Senior Vice President of Policy and Advocacy. Also joining us on that panel was Councilman Julian Jones of the Baltimore County Council District Number 4. And also we had retired Chief Melvin Russell from the Baltimore City Police Department sharing with us, and then also Chief Troy Williams, who is Baltimore County's Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. And we want to give a shout out to each of those individuals for an outstanding job. We've had nothing but positive reviews from the police reform, nothing but positive reviews. Some people have said that they've enjoyed the panel. They thought the panel was a good, well put together panel. They learned some things from the ideas and the information that was shared. And that's really what the forum is all about, sharing information. We invited some other persons to participate. However, they did not respond. And so we kept it moving. But we are grateful for those who did share and for those who had participated. And then for those of you who watched, um, we got good news. And as we shared at the end of that town hall, there is going to be another one, Town Hall 2, with altogether different panelists and a different moderator. Our moderator is already confirmed. I'm going to hold on to that nugget until a little bit later on. You're going to be excited for who we have on this upcoming um, Town Hall. Town Hall 2, we're calling it. Town Hall 2. It's going to take place. You can set your calendars on August the 3rd. August the 3rd, which again is another Monday, where we will talk about some more issues. We will have persons from, hopefully, from Anne Arundel County will share with us, as well as PG County and also Harford County. We have invited those persons to participate in our town hall. And what we are attempting to do is move around throughout the state of Maryland, gain information and conversation and dialogue from persons that can share from different perspectives. We believe that in order to get a good wide range feel on where we are, we have to hear from both sides of the issue. We have to talk to both police officers, find out what their stance is, what they believe, and how they believe. But then we also have to hear from those who are on the opposite side of that stance. Good dialogue is what we are in search of, and we're trying to bring about conversation and stimulate interest, because eventually we're going to have to talk to our legislative officials, the persons who will eventually have to write the bill and sponsor the bill and put the bill before the people to vote on. And so before we get to that point, we want to make sure that we have good dialogue, we have good conversation, and we give everybody the opportunity to share their views. And so if you know of anybody, you can certainly send us their information. We ask that even for those who are watching us right now, you're watching us on Facebook. We ask that you will like this page. Also, share it. Share it. You can even start a watch party, and then you can submit comments. Now, if you want us to know who you are, you have to accept the disclaimer from StreamYard so that we will actually see who you are. But the comments that you make come directly to us here in the studio. And also, you can email us at yes, let's talk about it, number one at gmail.com. That's yes, let's talk about it, the number one at gmail.com. Also, let me share with you that information is available. We need to make sure, as you know, voting is one of our platforms. And so, just for those of you who are not aware, you can go and register right online, register to vote. In fact, if you plan to vote in the Maryland general election, which is going to take place on November the 3rd, you need to be registered no later than October the 13th. October the 13th is the last day that you can register in order to be able to vote in the general election. And we want you to know we need you. We need you to vote. If you're not registered to vote, certainly go online to usa.gov and you can vote, register to vote right online. You don't have to worry about being involved with people with the pandemic. You can go there to register right online. And so if you're having any issues with that, you can let us know and we will submit that information to you. We can email you that link directly so that you can get it. But we want to make sure that each of you are registered to vote. Registering to vote is what's going to give us power. And you've heard me talk about the demonstrations that we have been seeing, the marches that we have been seeing. And as you know, we have participated in several of those events, non-violence, non-destructive, but peaceful demonstrations. We have participated in those, and we think demonstration is important. However, if all we do is demonstrate, and we do not have any power, then we limit ourselves. And in actuality, we make our demonstration fruitless. Fruitless, yes, that's right. All we've done is exhibited a lot of energy, but we do not have power. Our power comes when we have the right and the opportunity to cast a vote. And so that's why voting is one of our platforms here at Let's Talk About It, because we believe that if, in fact, we are going to be able to make a change, and we do know that change is needed, if we're going to be able to make a change, then we must be in position to do so. So again, if you need to register to vote, you must do that before October the 13th to be able to vote in the general election. All right, we've shared with you the fact that we do have another town hall coming up. We will be posting that information where you can register again to attend that town hall virtual. You don't even have to leave the comfort of your home. You'll be able to participate and watch, submit questions. So we thank those who did submit questions for the last town hall, but we are looking to make it bigger and better and make it more exciting, more enthusiastic. Although we've set the bar high right out the gate, I'm not sure how much higher we can go, but we're going to do our best to see if we can't take it over the top. And I believe we can do it with your participation and your help. And for all of those who have sent encouraging words and support, we want to say thank you. As you know, we have put out our plan of action as it relates to what's going on here and around our nation. Our plan of action. If you would like a copy of that, we will just email us and let us know to send you a copy of the plan of action and also a copy of our first initiative. Our plan of action that we have come up with from the Let's Talk About It live stream talk show is, first of all, it's in five components. Five components. The first component is to galvanize. We want to galvanize. If we're going to be successful, if we're going to be productive, we must galvanize. We must pull people together. We have to have people. We have to have numbers. When we go and talk to our legislative leaders, one of the questions they ask is how many people do you have standing with you? How many people do you have supporting your effort? They listen to you based on who you have backing you. And as we have often said, that a leader without any followers is nothing more than a man or a woman taking a walk. And so we're not just out for exercise, we're out for leadership. And so we need to galvanize. That's what we're doing now. We're pulling folk together, we're pulling you together. We're pulling individuals together, young and old and middle aged, our seniors. Everybody is important. So we're galvanizing together. That's the first component. That's the phase in which we are currently in, the galvanization phase. Then there is the second phase, which is to organize. Once we have gathered persons together, once we have formed the constituency, once we have formed a support group, then we're going to organize. We're going to organize. We're going to put some structure to our group. We don't want to be frivolous. We don't want to be all over the place. We want to stay focused on the issues at hand. We're going to organize. We're going to put people in place that can give us leadership, give us direction so that we can stay focused to the cause. We know too often we engage ourselves in activities and we lose focus. We start wandering all over the place. But no, we're going to organize. We want to have some structure. We want to have some purpose. So now that we have galvanized, and then after we have organized, we have a group of people, we are focused on a task, then we will strategize. Strategize is our third component or our third phase of this plan of action. When we strategize, we now talk about what it is we are actually going after. What are we actually going to do? And then we plan how we're going to do it. It is often said that no one enters into a battle, no one enters into a fight, no one enters into a war, even our military, without first doing proper reconnaissance. You have to know the enemy, you have to know the layout of the land, you have to know where the high spots and the low spots, you have to know where your enemy is entrenched. You have to know exactly what it is that you're doing. That's why we have to strategize. And so many of you have some brilliant ideas. Many of you have experience and expertise in certain areas. And so we want to be able to tap into what you have, bring what you have to the table, and let us sit down and strategize and work on a workable plan that makes this plan of action effective. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to first galvanize. Second of all, we're trying to organize. Thirdly, we will then strategize. And then after we have strategized and put together our plan, our modus of operation, then we will mobilize. We will take that plan and that strategy and we will put it in place. We will put it in place. We will put it in action. So, whatever it is that we collectively come together to do, we will put it in place. We will mobilize, whether it be going to Annapolis, whether it be going to DC, whether it be going to City Hall, whether it be going to the Baltimore County courthouse, wherever it is, whatever it is that we plan to do, we will mobilize as one unit. Often I think about when I'm dealing with issues like this, I think about the movie Malcolm X. And if you all remember that movie, when they had arrested those brothers and had beaten them and put them in jail, Malcolm got his guys together and they marched down to the jailhouse and they demanded that they receive medical treatment. They demanded it. They demanded it. And they were able to get medical treatment to those individuals. Why? Because the men outside that jail, the men outside that jail had galvanized themselves together. The men outside that jail had organized themselves together. They were following the leader. The men outside that jail had strategized what they were going to do. They had planned that they were not going to move. They mobilized, went together. And we do know that there is strength, there is unity in numbers. So after we have mobilized, then we will exercise our right. Exercise being that fifth component. And so I want to encourage you this afternoon, this evening, my brothers and my sisters, to get involved, become active. And I know we've watched a lot of things, a lot of movies, a lot of shows, a lot of news clips. And we've heard the names of those individuals whose lives have been lost, those families who have been impacted by injustice. And here is my question. For those of you who say now is not the time, my question to you is if not now, then when? You cannot bend steel when it's cold. You can only bend steel when it's hot. And so now that the heat is on, the pressure is on, while folk are demanding that statues be removed and flags be taken down and changed, while folk are demanding change in our society, in our police department, in our government, this is the time. While things are hot, we can bend steel. We can make change, but it's going to take you. It's going to take me. It's going to take all of us. So I encourage you to get involved. So for those who say, now is not the time, if not the time now, then when? And then there are those who say, not me. I said, if not you, then who? We've heard the names of those called who have been unjustly treated. But maybe the next name may be your family member, maybe your son or daughter, maybe your niece or your nephew. And if something was to happen, you would want everybody to rally behind you and support your cause. So maybe if we get involved now, we can help prevent something from happening down the road. So if not now, then when? If not you, then who? We're not asking you to put your lives on the line. We're trying to do everything with safety involved, with precautions involved, peaceful. I'm not into no violence. I'm not into no uprising, but I am into peaceful demonstration. I am into demanding that we get justice, we get equal rights, we get equality, we get fair treatment. We just want our fair share. We want a place at the table, and we want our voices to be heard. So we've laid out, that's our plan of action. And so we also have laid out our very first initiative. Our very first initiative. And here it is. The Internal Affairs Division of the Police Department conducts investigations against officers who have been charged with disciplinary actions or wrongful doings or violation of the police department code of ethics or laws. When those persons are charged, those officers are charged, they conduct an internal investigation. It is done by what's called the IAD, the Internal Affairs Division. Those hearings for those officers, in some cases, are made public. And also, in some cases, they allow members from the community to come and to have something to say about what the actions of the officer has transcribed for the community. But what we have discovered is that the information, all of the information about that officer is not made public. And so what we are demanding is that the same information that they make public on the public record online for any defendant that's been charged with a case, we are demanding that the same information be made public for any officer that is charged and is investigated by the Internal Affairs Division. That is not just in Baltimore City, but we're also advocating that for Baltimore County. Those are the two areas that we are starting with our focus. And certainly we thank um, the law firm of Cohen and Martin for sharing with us and partnering with us and helping us to come to some resolution with our plans. And so we want to thank them for their involvement and participation. But I want you to know, my brothers and sisters, that yes, we have a plan and we are working our plan. It is often said that a plan, it's not that the plan fails, but in most cases, we fail to plan. And so what we've done is we've taken the time, we've sat down, we've talked to individuals, and we have put together our plan of action. And we have laid out our first initiative. And so what we need is for you to get on board. We need you to become a meaningful participant. We know that everybody cannot do everything, but all of us can do something. We know the pandemic is still running rampant. In fact, the numbers are rising in various states around this country. Over 138,000 people have lost their lives. We know that. We know that. So we have to be mindful. We have to be concerned. So, what am I saying to you? Let's not be fooled. Let's not act crazy. Let's do what the CDC requires. Let's wash our hands. Let's practice good hygiene, especially every time you come in the house or every time you go into your mama's house or somebody else's family member's house. Because we really shouldn't be going a whole lot of places right now. But every time you go into a new place, go immediately to the restroom and wash your hands. Go immediately to the restroom and wash your hands. You've touched the doorknobs, you've touched the stern wheels, you've touched the handles. Go and wash your hands in the restroom and not in the kitchen sink. We know that we should not be washing our hands in the kitchen sink. That's where food is prepared and often rinsed. Let's go to the restroom, wash our hands before we do anything else. Let's exercise safe practices. And by all means, wear your mask. Wear your mask. It is for your safety, not just yours, but for the people that you are around. Certainly, we should not be involving ourselves in large gatherings, especially without a mask. You know, the recommendation from the CDC is that we maintain at least 6 feet in space. They call it social distancing, but I like to call it physical distancing because when you really think about it, we can get on the phone and socialize. We can FaceTime each other, we can socialize. But physical distancing is what we should be doing. We know that there is a big issue right now that's being discussed as to whether or not our young folk will be able to go back to school, whether they're going to do actual in class training or whether they're going to be doing a training online. Let me encourage you, parents that have young children. We know the school is out, we know it's the summertime, but I encourage you get some books. Work on your children's reading while they are home because they're going to already be behind because of the lack of attendance that they had in school before the school year ended. We must maintain their level of reading. We cannot allow them to just be on the computer and on their iPhones and tablets, playing videos and all of that kind of stuff all day long. We must make sure that we invest in our young people. You may say, well, I don't have certain kind of books. Okay, you got a magazine at the house. It may not be an educational magazine, but it's got words in it. Sit down with your young person. Have them to do some reading. I'm trying to help us. We have got to learn how to help ourselves. We cannot depend on the government to help us. We already see what number 45 is doing. He is not allowed us to have the proper equipment and things that were needed when this pandemic started. And now here we are. He is almost just kicked it to the side for the purpose of the economy. In other words, he's willing to sacrifice your life for his own good. We have to put in place those things that will make a difference for us and our families. And so, if you are a parent, you have the responsibility of trying to keep your child educated in what is needed. You have the response. And I know right now a lot of folk don't want to hear it. I know you say it's summertime. Let them run loose and wild. And here's what I'm saying. When it's all said and done, we complained before because our children were not getting the proper instruction that they were needed. We complained when they were passing our children, when they lowered the passing grade. We complained when children were being moved from grade to grade without being able to read. We complained when our children were not getting the necessary um, schooling that they should have had. If you think you were complaining then, tell me what's going to happen in the next 6 months. Tell me what's going to happen in the next year. Tell me. We are going to pay a big price, and it's up to us to take the time to encourage our young people. They're not going to like it, but we are the parents. We are the grandparents. We are the aunts and the uncles. We are the ones that have to say to them, this is for your good. We're doing it for your good to help you to be able to achieve. I know often I have shared with young folk that I have kind of been mentoring or encouraging in some kind of way. I have shared with them, get a dictionary. And for some of you parents that are trying to figure out some things to do, here's a secret. Get a dictionary and get a notebook, spiral back, a black and white composition notebook, and have your child every day open the dictionary, anywhere in the dictionary. Open a dictionary and pick one word. Learn how to spell it. Learn what it means. Learn how to use it in a sentence. One word every day. If you do that for 365 days, that young person will have learned 365 words. It will broaden their vocabulary. It will allow them to be able to have meaningful discussion, and it will allow them to be able to talk and speak fluently and intelligently. Just by one word a day for 365 days. Imagine what that would do. I know I've got some parents, some adults that would love to do that, especially for those who are not as quite as articulate in language. But these are the things that we can do ourselves that will help us to better ourselves. Also, I want to share with you something that we're also looking to implement on the last Thursday of the month. We're going to have a forum or a platform that we're going to call Rising Stars. Yes, Rising Stars. We're going to bring on our show on the last Thursday of the month, beginning here in July. Young people from the ages of 8 to 16 to come on to the show. We will interview them and discuss with them uh, various aspects of their life, their schooling, talk about what they enjoy, what they plan to be when they grow up, how they like school, and some of their favorite activities. And we're going to have some very good conversation. And so we have three persons that we are already have assigned for this month for that Rising Stars segment. And not only are we going to interview these young folk, but I am hoping that we will be able to select a young person that will actually conduct the interview and run the show on on that Rising Stars segment. And so if you have a young person that you think might be good for that, or you have someone that you know of who is doing well in school and who has achieved and who can talk and are not bashful, send us an email. Give us the person's name and their contact information. And make sure you give us their parents' information because we have to make sure we speak with the parent, talk to the parent, because the parent will have to get them ready for the show. But yes, we're trying new things. We're talking about new things. We're engaging new things because we want to make sure that we are relevant for our community. We want to make sure that we are doing what we can do to make a difference, not just on a religious point of view, not just on an economic point of view, but also on a social point of view. We want to engage you, our community. We want to engage. Can I count on you? Can I count? Send me a comment. And for those who are on YouTube, we trust that you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. What does subscribing do for you? Well, the first thing it does is it makes it possible and helps you to be alerted every time we come on. It will send you a notification that we are on and you'll be able to tune into us. And so please, whether you're on YouTube watching us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Send us a comment. If you're watching us on Facebook, like our channel, share our channel, start a watch party, because what we are doing is sharing valuable information. We're sharing things that will help to make all of our lives better. All right, we were supposed to have our Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski was supposed to be on with us this evening. We have not heard from him. Perhaps something came up within the county, and he was not able to join us. We still were giving him time to join us, but we're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving. Dr. Davis, our co-host, had an emergency. He called me, and so he is working with the family who had a loss of a loved one, and so we understand that's what ministry is all about. We have to take the time to administer to the needs of those who need our assistance. And so that's what we're doing. So, on starting tomorrow, we will place the information on our Facebook website or Facebook page for the link where you can join or register once again for the upcoming Town Hall 2 that's going to take place on Monday, August the 3rd at 7 p.m. Uh, and we put the information out there so that you can register early. And in fact, on this past Monday, we had persons that were registering even up to the very last minute. And so, what we want you to do, or like for you to do, is to register early, because what will happen is once the room has filled up, it will not allow you to register. And so we don't want you to be left out, but we want you to be involved and engaged. And so when we put that information out, please, let's not always wait to the last minute to do things. I know we are used to procrastinating. I know we're used to waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. But listen, don't wait. Let's get out of that habit. Let's jump in. Let's go ahead and register and get that out of the way. Because what happens is when you register, it will send you, first of all, a thank you message for registering and let you know that it has you listed as an attendee. The other thing that it would do is an hour before the actual town hall, it will send you a reminder message. It'll send you a reminder message to let you know that the town hall will be starting in an hour. So go ahead. Starting tomorrow, we're going to put that information out that you can go ahead and register. The other thing, especially for those who are in Baltimore County, we want you to pay attention to the bill that has been introduced. The bill that has been introduced by Councilman Jones that relates to the police reform. It is important for us to understand that police reform is very much needed. He has introduced a bill, and that bill is to help change the practices and the habits of the police department. That's what it's for. He has introduced that bill, and so we want to take a look at it. We want to do what is necessary. We want to make sure that we are familiar with it. That bill is bill number 7320, especially for those in Baltimore County. It is sponsored by Councilman Julian Jones. It was introduced in the Baltimore County Council on July the 6th. I encourage you, Google it. If you need a copy of it, let me know, email me, and we will send it to you. But it is bill number 7320 that deals with police reform. It talks about the different things that are in there, from chokeholds to being able to do certain things from the police department, reallocating of funds and that sort of thing. And so, listen, I just want you to know we are actively engaged. We were on Tuesday, we were on as an attendee in one of the county's meetings for diversity and change. We sat in on that meeting. We were in on, previous to that, one of Baltimore County's city council meetings. We sat in on that. And so we are, every week, we are doing something. We are engaged. We are trying to get the information so that we can pass the information on to you. And what we need is for you to be a participant. We will gather the information, we will share the information with you, but we need you to receive it and then respond accordingly. How about that? Can we count on you for that? Can we count on you? I'm looking forward to sharing that information with you and for you to partner with us because there are a lot of things that we're going to need to talk about. We're going to need to talk to some of these officials, elected officials, who are running and they want our vote. We want them to understand we're not just going to give you our vote for you to do what you want to do. We are going to hold them accountable. And we're trusting that as we galvanize and pull people together from around this city and around this county and other counties in the state of Maryland, we are going to find people that have an honest and earnest feeling for the people. And for those who have desires or aspirations to be a part of in public service, and you've been working with us, we're going to put you up to run. Yes, we are. We're looking because we want people running, and we're going to support those who have our interests at heart, those who believe in what we believe in, those who have their finger on the pulse for our community. We know right now our people are disenfranchised. We know right now our people are disproportionately affected by this virus and by segregation. We know that. Many of the small businesses were not able to receive a funding or assistance from the PPP, all of these programs. We understand that. And it has already been said that many businesses, as I think the last number I heard was a third of the small businesses will not be able to survive this pandemic. A third of the businesses will not even open back up. A third, one third. And that's sad. Partly because our government dropped the ball and did not adequately prepare to help the people. I tell you, we need to make some changes, and they need to start at the top. But we can't make changes if we don't have the power. We can't have the power if we're not registered to vote. But then we can't be just registered to vote and not go out to vote come election day. We're not sure what the outcome is going to be, whether we're going to do in person voting or whether we're going to be doing mail in voting. All I know is whatever type of voting that's going to be available, we need to take advantage of it. I know I'm not looking to stand in no line. I plan to do voting, absentee ballot or mail in ballot is what I'm planning to do. But I am planning to vote. And I hope that you are planning to. Don't be fooled by the polls. We're hearing every day about the polls, about number 45 is behind in double digits and all of that. Don't be fooled by the polls because we know that he has rallied his base together all around this nation. His supporters are staying true and loyal to him. How do we know they're true and loyal? They're packing stadiums out in the midst of a pandemic. with no face mask, with no concern about their safety and their health, all to be loyal and supportive to him. That's what's happening. I don't want you to be fooled. Don't be fooled by the poll. Don't pay attention to the polls. What I want us to pay attention to is we have to make sure that we vote. We've got to do it. Not just for us, but what's at stake at this election is the future of our children and grandchildren. He has already put in over 200 judges. And it is said that those judges that he has put in will lock up the judgeship for at least the next 30 to 40 years because those judges are appointed for life. Imagine what will happen if he gets in another term. Imagine. And those judges that he have put in are not judges that are for affirmative action. Those judges that he have put in are not judges that are for us. Imagine that. And if we think that it's not important, history will be written, and our descendants, our grandchildren and great grandchildren and great 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 grandchildren will read the history books and they will ask the question, what was our foreparents thinking when they allowed this to happen? That's something to think about. Our lives, our children's lives, our grandchildren's lives are at stake. Why am I pushing this so heavy? Because I understand that we have a obligation and a responsibility to do what is right. We do. We cannot sit on the sidelines. We cannot sit on the back burner. We've got to get involved. We've got to participate. We've got to do what is necessary. So you say, well, how do I do that? Well, stay connected. Stay connected to Let's Talk About It. Stay connected to the ventures and the activities that we engage in. Email us, ask us, what are we doing next? Where are we supposed to meet? Where are we supposed to show up? Who are we supposed to call? What challenges are we supposed to deal with? What emails are where are we supposed to send emails? What elected officials do we need to rally behind? And then who do we need to challenge and let them know we're not going to stand by and let them just do what they want to do? That's what happens when we talk about galvanize. That's what happens when we talk about organize. That's what happens when we talk about strategize. That's what happens when we talk about mobilize. That's what happens when we begin to exercise our rights, our privileges. That's what you call a plan of action. And so, my brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for your support so far. I want to thank you for your encouragement. I want to thank you for your participation. I want to thank you. But what I need you to do is to use your power of influence and reach out to other people and encourage them to join in and participate. We certainly want to thank attorney that shared with us on last week, A. Dwight Pettit. We had a very good conversation and dialogue. I have been enjoying his book, and we issued a challenge for some of you all to receive a book, and no one met the challenge. No one met the challenge, but the books are still available. If you would like to get one by A. Dwight Pettit, the book is entitled Under Color of Law. It's a very good, very interesting book to read, where he unfolds his life and his practice and what he has done as it relates to civil rights and even dealing with going after the police department and prosecuting officers and that sort of thing. So it's very, very good information. Also, let us also remind you that we have our T-shirts, our brand new T-shirts are available that have our logo on the front of them, and on the back, it actually has information about our talk show that we are a weekly talk show. Those T-shirts are available right now. You can email us or call us. They're available for $18, and if you have sizes 3X or more, they are $20. Now, when we ordered these shirts, we were surprised at them being the expensive as they were, but then also because we had them printed on both sides, that took the price up a little more. But we want you to know that they are available, and so yes, yes, you can get a T-shirt. We have them in stock. All you have to do is email us or call us and contact us, and we will let you know how you can get your T-shirt. Also, we do have some other things that are coming along soon, and we will let you know about them. That's going to be for us. I'm looking to do some things because I want us to be together. I want us to be top notch. I don't want us to be dragging behind. I want y'all that know me know I try to be professional. I try to be diligent to any task that I assign myself to because I want it to be top notch. I want it to be a step above excellence. That's how I operate. That's how I do things. And I want to thank you for partnering and participating with us. Well, don't forget, on the last Thursday of this month, we're launching our new venture that's entitled uh, Rising Stars, where we will feature young people from the ages of 8 to 16. We have three of them lined up for this first segment, and you're going to be excited to hear some of these young folk be able to talk distinguishedly as well as authentically, and we get to hear from our young people. And again, if you know of an intelligent, smart thinking young person, submit their information to us, their parents' information, their contact information, so that we can reach out to them. Submit that information to us. Email us. Once again, the email address is on the screen. Yes, let's talk about it. The number one at gmail.com. Once again, yes, let's talk about it. The number one at gmail.com. Send us your request, whether if it's about voting information, if it's about the t-shirts, if it's about our new segment with Rising Stars, or if it's just some information that you want to share with us that you feel would be relevant for the platform that we are dealing with, send it to us. If you want more information about getting registered to vote, email us, reach out to us. We respond to emails in most cases within the same day. In most cases, we are checking our emails constantly throughout the day. So reach out to us. We want to hear from you. Listen, this is not my show. This is our show. That's why it's entitled Let's Talk About It. We're talking about issues that relate to African Americans. We're talking about issues that relate to all Americans. We're talking about issues that relate to young folk. We're talking about issues that relate in our government, policies, laws. This is what we're doing. We are on the ground. That's what we are. We are on the ground, moving, trying to help, trying to make a difference. Again, as we said before, everybody can't do everything, but all of us can do something. Again, I want to remind you, put it on your calendar, our next town hall forum on police reform, Reform Town Hall 2, is going to take place on Monday, August the 3rd at 7 p.m., just like we did this past Monday. August the 3rd at 7 p.m. Our moderator has already confirmed, and we are currently waiting for the rest of our panelists to confirm, and then that full flyer will be made available to you. But in the meantime, starting tomorrow, we will have on our Facebook page a direct link that you can click on that will take you to the registration page. Or, once again, you can email us and ask us to send you the link. If you are you are watching us on YouTube, you can email us and we will send you the link by way of email. And all you have to do is click on that link and it will take you directly to the registration page where you can register. Registration is free. Doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't cost you anything to register. It's free. But you do have to register to be in attendance, to be able to submit questions uh, for that forum. We're trying our best to make things as powerful and impactful as we can. We're trying our best to make sure that we give you the best that we have to offer. We're doing everything within our power because we think that you are valuable. We think that you are important. We think that you have something to offer. Not only do we think it, we know it. We know that you are some of the best people around. And together, not separate, not apart, but together, we can accomplish anything. Remember, reach out to us at Yes, Let's Talk About It. The number one at gmail.com. If you need information about voting registration, email us. If you need information about the Forum 2 that's coming up, email us. If you need information about our t-shirts that we have available, email us. If you want information about our Rising Stars new segment that's coming up, email us. The bottom line is, if you want to know something about what we are doing and what we're involved in, if you want to have a copy of our plan of action in your hand, email us. If you want a copy of our initiative, our first initiative about making the information about police officers that are being investigated through the Internal Affairs Division, if you want information about that, email us. If you are in Baltimore County and you want a copy of the bill that Councilman Jones has sponsored as it relates to police reform, email us. Listen, the bottom line is we want you to know that we are doing our best to keep you engaged and to keep you informed. We're doing our best. And it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us. We can't do it by ourselves. We can't do it alone. It takes all of us. We have to work together. But you have to participate with us. You have to get involved. You can't sit on the sidelines. You can't be in the stands. We got to get out on the track. We got to get our hands dirty, some of us. But then there's some of you all, we know you can't march. You can't walk. But you can support the effort. You can help to make a difference. How do you do that? Get involved. How do you do that? Get others involved. Make a plan for yourself that you're going to get 10 other people to join you. 10. Just get 10. Let's start with 10. Reach out and ask if you can get them to be on your team. Tell them you need 10 people to be a part of your team for something that's worthwhile to make a difference in our lives. And I'm sure you'll be able to get some folk that will be happy. Yes, they'll be happy to support you. They'll be happy. Well, our time is about up. You know how to reach us. Yes, let's talk about it. The number one, gmail.com. Till next week, we'll see you on another show of Let's Talk About It.